Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's class. It is time for getting ink on your fingers and getting your fingers sticky with glue because we are going to be stamping today. So I'm just waiting for at least one person to pop on before I officially begin, but I might just officially begin anyway. So, okay, there's one person. That's my cue. Good Thursday morning and welcome to Seeing Ink Spots Backstage Past, where today's class is all about using it up. Hello, Kathleen. So glad you are here and watching. Do pop in the comments and let me know who's here. And, you know, it just makes it all the more fun when we have a little bit of a conversation. The best we can. Okay, so I mentioned today's class is Use It Up. Today I am featuring the Fancy Flora DSP. We are using that up. And I'm also using up some older ribbons and rhinestones and things. So this is the class for that. And I am using today the Charming Sentiments stamp set and the Sentiments, I can't remember the name of the dies, but they were bundled. But now in this catalog, they are no longer bundled. So if something comes out and you really like a bundle, buy it as a bundle so you save 10%. Okay, so I'm using that. If you don't have this stamp set, don't worry about it. You can use any greeting set and just cut them out. But I'm gonna show you tips and tricks with this stamp set and matching dies that will hopefully make things a lot easier. Okay, so I am going to flip my camera, do a little bit of business, and then we're going to stamp. Okay, so here comes the hand. You know that obnoxious part where we have to swing things around. Okay. All right, let me see if we can get this going here. And we're gonna move this way just a skosh. There we go. Okay, so today's class, like I said, it's using up our Use It Up kit, Charming Sentiments. Here is the kit. Now, how can you get this kit? The only way you can get this kit is by having an order for $75 or more. You'll get this kit, the Legendary Ride. Well, it's not Legendary Ride, but the Technique Time, that's what I meant to say. You get your Technique Time kit and this kit for free, plus I'll ship it to you for free. Okay, that's the only way you can get these. And this is today's class, but let's see what's coming up. This is what was on my mind when I said Legendary Ride. So next week's class, Technique Time, it's usually the 4th week, but this time for May, it's gonna be the 3rd week. So it'll be just right next week. Tomorrow is the last day to register for this class if you want a kit. Okay, if you want the PDF version, that's always going to be available. Okay, but if you want a kit, let me know by tomorrow so that I can get you one made. This class is fun. It's what I'm calling a double take class. We are doing 4 cards, 2 for him and 2 for her. So, and I will just give you, let's see, I'll give you a sneak peek. Let's see. So this is just kind of a sneak peek of one, just kind of in and out. That's one of our, for perfectly timed for Father's Day. It doesn't have to be for a father. It could be like my son's a dad, so I can give him one. My brother's a dad. All kinds of different people that it would work for. So anyhow, this class is $31 if you want to buy a kit, and that will include shipping, and you'll have what you need for this class. I'm going to be using the metal plate folder. The pieces will be embossed, those that are buying kits. This is the stamp set. It's super fun. And as I started adding the stamps with the dies, oh my goodness, I was having such a fun time creating different motorcycles and things. So that's next week. Don't delay. You don't want to miss out on that. It's going to be a lot of fun. Let's see. And then after that, we don't have class for a couple weeks because I will actually be on a vacation. We are taking an Alaskan cruise. And so I won't, you know, I'm going to be having some fun with Newell's family. So our next class will be June 8th. and it's all about the Exploring in Color Paper Pumpkin Kit. And so that'll be a lot of fun. Then right here in the Backstage Pass for next month, our Use It Up for next month, we're going to use up some of the Countryside Inn DSP. And I will just say that it'll be perfectly timed for the Paper Pumpkin Kit. So Paper Pumpkin for June, not for May. May is Exploring Color. June is called Welcome In, and it matches this Countryside Corners suite, okay? And so this is what I'll be using for that Use It Up class. But of course, you can always just bring some DSP and cardstock and matching ink pads and join me for that. But I will say that going back to that Paper Pumpkin Kit for June, starting today, there is an add-on for the June kit, and it's dies. It's 3 little dies. They've shown us it's a vase and a flower, and those both match pieces in the stamp set in June's Paper Pumpkin Kit, and then there's a little leaf die in there as well to go with it. So last time they had dies, which was for there was a frog and some flowers, those sold out super fast. So I would recommend jumping on and getting those. So if you're a Paper Pumpkin subscriber, you can get those dies. Also, if it's a $75 order on the host code, you'll get this Use It Up kit as well as June's you'll get this Use It Up kit comes with the Legendary Ride. Okay. So Legendary Ride, this is the Use It Up kit that you would get if you had a $75 purchase. Hopefully that's making sense. And then, June, we do have, and I'll catch up in just a second here. That's a little bit about that. Pickup class returns in June. And, we're going to take a look at the Pansy Patch stamp set and the Pansy dies. Okay, we haven't looked at that since Studio Ink Spots, the very, very first Studio Ink Spots, which was in May of 2020. So we're going to look at that. And then for June, Technique Time will be the Timeless Arrangements Bundle. You guys, this is the best. It is so fun. So this will be the class for June. So now, let me just go back. If you have a $75 purchase, you will get the Legendary Ride, Technique Time, and the Countryside Corner. Where's that little flyer? And you'll get this Use It Up. So these 2 classes are going to be free. So I'll do it this way. So you'll get these 2 classes free, and I'll ship it to you for free, okay? So if you end up purchasing the June Technique Time, or you have an order in June, you'll get the June kit along with July, which I don't even know what it's going to be, July's Use It Up class, okay? So there you have it. That's what's coming up. Now, let's stamp. Today's class is Use It Up Charming Sentiments, okay? Now, I noticed in the new catalog, there is a stamp set and dies similar to this one. I can't remember the name of it, but that would be another great one to use kind of with some of the tips and tricks I'm going to teach you today. Because when I first ordered this set, this was the very first set I ordered with last year's catalog. I'm like, well, brilliant. Look at that. You have die cut greetings and, you know, no more of that fussy cutting. But the first time I used it, I was like, ugh, this is terrible. It doesn't work. Well, I have figured out how to use it. And now I'm going to show you how. And you're going to love it. I promise. Okay, so here's the kit. Let's begin. Now, if you're just working with bits and pieces from home, here's what I recommend. Just grab some DSP, cardstock, and ink pads that all coordinate, okay? And then you can kind of create along with me. So we are using up the Fancy Flora DSP. Now, your pieces in your Use It Up kit might not be exactly like mine, but you can see they're similar. And so, in fact, the cards I made are actually different pieces than this. So I'm just going to show you how it's going to work to kind of do things, you know, you can see how they're the same, but they're not the same. So everybody has the same color tones though. Okay, so we are also using up Evening Evergreen. We are using up Mint Macaron. We're using up Soft Succulent. We're using up Retired Ribbons. And you could use, I'm bringing this one in as well, and also some linen thread and baker's twine. I'm using up Soft Suede. We're using up Blushing Bride. And then we have some other colors as well. So that's why I say just grab some cardstock, get your trimmer, you know, some basic tools, and let's just create. They do not have to be the same. You're gonna copy and selectively edit whatever you would like. So that you're gonna case, copy and selectively edit. Sometimes we say copy and share everything or steal everything. You know, you depend. I like selectively edit. Okay, so let's see. For this first card, we're going to make a baby card, and we're going to use a half a sheet of thick basic white, and I also have a piece of Evening Evergreen here. So I'm just looking at my papers, and I think I'm going to go, let's see, what am I gonna do here? What should we do? Because my papers are a little bit different, I think we're still gonna go with this one. I know this one would be the obvious choice, but it's a baby card. So I'm just gonna kind of punch up the greens in here by kind of backing it with some Evening Evergreen. So we'll move these three aside for now. So find a paper in your pack there that has some lavender and blue and mint. Just find a piece that's similar that will kind of, you know, gives you kind of a baby card mood. The back of this is pretty bright, but we're gonna use this side. And we're also going to use, let's see, I am gonna use the mint circle. That will look good. And so that mint kind of pulls in there. That'll be fun. I'm also going to pull in a piece of Soft Succulent. So look, we've kind of we're bridging. So it's like this is a very light piece of DSP, and this is a super dark piece of cardstock, but I'm bridging it with some other colors here. I'm also gonna bridge in with some more green. And this particular ribbon, this is a seam binding ribbon, and it's the Soft Seafoam. So this was part of the Splendid Thoughts suite last summer. So we're gonna use some of that. We're gonna use a nice big piece of that. Okay, so let's do some cutting first before we jump into some techniques and things. Let's die cut, not die cut, but we will be doing a lot of die cutting today, folks. Let's trim this piece down here. I'm gonna trim off, on one of these ends, I'm gonna trim off 3/4 of an inch, okay? We're not gonna need that. We can use that for something else. And this piece, by the way, so it was, it's 4 inches and it was 8.5. So it was 8.5 by 4 inches. So I've just taken off 3/4 of an inch there. And then I've rotated it. So this is the edge that I cut the 3/4 off of. And I'm gonna trim some of this off because I wanna use this to be able to stamp some things. So I'm gonna put this at 4 inches. So now I have some stuff I can stamp on, and then this is gonna be for one of my card layers. And now with this piece here, we're gonna put a layer on this piece. And so this section here is 3.5 by 4. So we're going to do a piece that's gonna be 3.25, okay, by 3.75. Save these. You never know where they might end up. Okay, so one more time. This piece here is 3.25 by 3.75, okay? And it's going to layer on this piece of Evening Evergreen, just like so, okay? Before we put that on though, what I'm gonna do, watch how I'm gonna put the glue on for this piece. I'm just unclogging my glue. You know, you have to watch me do this every time. If I do it ahead of time, it won't matter. I'll still have to unplug it. The woes. So I'm going to do just a little bit of glue here on the top. Come on, glue, go, 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 go. And on the bottom. Okay. And I'm going to take my ribbon here, get this out of the way, and I'm going to stretch it across. Look, I remembered to put my ribbon in first. I'm always forgetting that, right? And I'm going to sandwich that ribbon in there, but it's going to be able to move because I only put glue on the top and the bottom, okay? That way, this, you can pull it through, right? Okay, so she remembered to sandwich in the ribbon. Can't believe it. I'm always, oh man, I got to undo it and tuck it in. Ay, ay, ay. Okay, so I'm going to take my bone folder and just give this a good crease. All right, so there's the start of things. Now we're going to take our card here, and this piece, okay, well, let me just go ahead and, so I've pulled this around the back, and I'm just going to give this a chop here. So this is a pretty hefty size piece of ribbon. Let's get a measurement on it for you guys. And you don't have to use this same seam binding I'm using. You could use white if you had lavender. So 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 20. It's about 24 inches, okay? So you like that? Go up and then come back. That's what I did. Okay, so this tab here, so if I were to open this, I'm going to put glue here. And this is kind of a variation on some layouts I've done before. Very, very similar, just kind of changing things up just a little bit. And I'm going to set this, I'm just going to kind of set it on my card base, on the side of my card. And we're just going to, so it's going to close. Okay, and you could be centered, you could be partially down. It doesn't have to be exactly the same, but just go ahead and glue that. So I'm just going to open this for now. Now we know that this is going to open and shut easily, and I don't have to trim anything off. Okay, so I've got this funny tab right here. So never fear, we're going to take this piece of DSP here. So if you remember, we had something like this. So this is one of the pieces. Let's take and cut, let's do like a 3/4 inch strip of paper, or it could be like 5/8, just whatever you'd like. Let's do that. And I'm gonna trim it down to 5.5. So mine is now 5/8 by 5.5. And I'm going to glue this right down the inside here. That way I'm going to kind of repeat my pattern paper from the inside, I'm sorry, from the outside to the inside. So let's go ahead and glue that down. Okay, easy enough. Sometimes before I often will kind of get all of my pieces layered in and set and ready to go, and then I'll start to work on all of my elements that will be the decor, you know, the focal point for the card. Sometimes that way this stuff is kind of all ready and out of the way, and I don't have to worry about anything. Okay, so I'm thinking this piece looks just great right about there, right? So I am going to, let's see, how wide is this piece? Find center. It's 3 1/4, so that would be what? 1 5/8? 1 7/8. Yes. 1 7/8, that's going to be your center. Is that right? It doesn't look right. Okay, big math. So just fold it in half. Give a little pinch. So sometimes you'll see me, I'll find center on my cutter here, and I'll make a little mark so that I know where center is, so that I can punch my little notch for my pocket. Okay, there's that. Okay. Oh, I forgot to bring a little garbage. I usually bring a little garbage. I have a jar, little flat mason jar. And I set it right by me so I can collect all my goodies. Okay, so there is that. And we'll glue this one right there, like that. Use up that DSP. Make your card, you know, a convenient spot. You know, if you wanted to give somebody like a $20 bill, go to lunch or something like that. Of course, you'd have to go to lunch. You need a $50 these days, right? Crazy. Now, this piece here, so just FYI, this is going to reach around and will tie this way. So that's what I'm going to do with my ribbon. So it's kind of a different way than what I've done in the past, but I like it. This piece here, I'm going to have it right here on the inside like so, okay? So it's just going to kind of fill this space, but give us a little bit of color right there. And then we open, we'll have some decor here on the inside. So let's see, how am I going to know where this is going to go? I'm just going to scooch this down a little bit. That way I kind of know where I'm going to go. We'll glue this one down. So I'm going to cover that up, but shut this so that we can evenly center. Yep, that looks good. Okay, so now we've got our pieces out of the way and we can start to design this card. Now, this piece here, we are going to use to be doing some die cutting. We'll be doing some die cutting and stamping with this piece of green. And with this one here, we're going to do some die cutting. So these dies, this set, it's called the Sentiment Silhouettes. That's the name of it. These are fabulous. They have, I dropped my pieces here. They have, not only do you have the pieces to cut out the greetings of the stamp set, right? Not only do you have that, of course I have all of mine, but these are kind of all pulled off right now. There's all these different little pieces in here that, like, there's some stars, and that's 2 stars right there. And here's a single star. And there's just all kinds of fun pieces. There's kind of, this one, it's kind of like a starburst type of thing. And you've got that, you've got a candle, you've got, you know, like for a shooting star, if you wanted to do shooting stars. Oh, I should have done that. That would have been cute. Like a little shooting star action. You have some hearts in here. Anyway, so we're going to use all these little baby-sized dies, but the first one we're going to use is this one right here, okay? And we're going to need that one for this particular card. So we're going to use this little stick. I'm going to call it the wand handle because we're going to make some wands with the stars. Wish I had thought of that, would have been really cute, okay? So we're going to use those. Then we're going to get into the nitty-gritty of the rest of these dies. Okay, so to start, let's do this. We are going to take this piece here, and I am going to do one of them there, okay, like so, and then I'm going to do another one kind of right below it. So let's do one, and then I'll show you where the next one's going to go once this one's on. So you'll need your Stampin' Cut Emboss machine. The nice thing is these charming sentiments, or the Sentiment Silhouette dies, that's their actual name, they do fit in the mini machine. Okay, so I'm just sending this one through. Get all my plates just right. So look at that, isn't that sweet? There's that one. And I think before we do the second one, I want to do, I need to make my wands. So what I'm going to do with this piece of paper, I'm going to cut out like 5 sets of these stars. Okay. So cut out about 5 sets. And I've done that ahead of time, so you don't have to sit there and watch me do this over and over. Okay. Of course, I did it with another color paper, but that's okay. So there's a couple stars there. Now let me get another baby one here. Oops, that's the same color. Let me see if I can find one just a slightly different color. That's a slightly different color. That'll show up. So give yourself, go ahead and cut, like I say, like 5 or 6 sets of stars. We'll pretend I'm doing that now. And also with this piece here, I want you, and I'm just going to kind of cut this, so I'm not putting this whole piece of paper through my Big Shot. And the reason I don't want to put the whole thing through is it has a tendency to scar the rest of the paper. It doesn't where your die cuts are, but that's why I'm going to cut it out. So I'm actually going to cut this twice. I'm going to cut one here, and I'm going to slide it over and cut another one. So you're going to cut 2, and this little piece, I'm using it as a wand, the stick of a wand. I don't know, does anybody else have another idea what it's supposed to be? It's kind of where my brain went. Oh, I'm in the state of needing new plates big time. Big time. Things are just too warped. Okay. Here's one wand handle is what I'm going to call it. Oh, I dropped it on the floor. Does anybody have this set of dies? Just curious. Alicia, Kat, do you have it? If so, what do you think this little piece is for? This piece here. Okay, so I'm done with that. I have my 2 little wands here, or wand handles. So let me just put some of these together. I need another heart though. Another heart. I need another star. There's that. It's a good color. Let's see. I kind of want one. Here we go. This is good. I want them different colors. So your stars will be different colors depending on where you kind of land them on your DSP. Okay, so to put these together, let me show you the easiest way to do this. Okay, so you have these teeny tiny little pieces. And to make life easy, take your pick tool. You know what happened to all the putty at the end of my take your pick tool? It's like it came off. Well, hopefully there's enough for today's class. I had a nice blob of putty there. Okay, so take your glue and do just a tiny dot of glue right on that end. Tiny dot of glue on that end. Well, that was a big dot of glue. Pick your stars up with your take your pick tool. So I'm doing 2 of the larger stars right there like so. And now I'm going to do one more dot, bigger dot than that. Make myself laugh. Okay, and now take your other stars and you can line them up or you can make them askew. It's just totally up to you. But I'm just kind of beefing them up just a little bit more. Okay. These 2 will save for later. But now what I want to do is, they're not quite dry. I'm going to get it just a little more straight. But I'm going to kind of, ta-da! So like the stars are, the wands are like sparkly, right? And this one's going to come here. So I just kind of needed to know where I was going to put this. So now that I can see those, I'm going to kind of put it right in there. So we're going to do a second one for that second little wand, magic wand, because babies are like magic, right? So here is my second one. And we'll just poke all these little pieces out. Okay, so there's that. And now that these are kind of setting up, that one is definitely askew. I'm gonna put a mini dimensional on the back of these. Right on that star. I'm not gonna worry about the handle end. They're gonna go like that. Cute. So it's the start of our baby card. Now, for all these little pieces, oops, sorry, you guys, didn't mean to move the camera here. I like to use these magnetic bases. So like this is a big super magnetic. You've seen me talk about these before, but this is definitely my first tip for this type of set of dies, or any set of dies that has these little teeny tiny pieces, is a magnet bowl. I've also, for Nicholas, I bought him a larger one. It was like this big for mechanics, and it was a big, huge magnet on the bottom. I'm like, ooh, I might get one of those bigger ones. But this is nice. That way, you know, you don't lose your dies. So that's tip number 1 on these little itty bitty things. Now, moving right along, let's continue our card here, because I'm gonna move into tip number 2 and then teach you something that you probably already know, but it's a must-have technique for this set of greetings and dies. It's just, there's nothing better. Okay, so there's that. I'm gonna turn this over and continue to get this ready. We'll add full-size dimensionals to the back here. Okay, so 1, 2, we'll do 3, and then I have a little half C here, so I think I'll just use that right there. So that's ready. This is gonna come and play into here. Okay, and we'll tie this. Now we need to do some stamping. So our stamping for this is gonna be all about the greetings. And our greetings for this card are pretty, you know, we'll do the babies are a blessing, so tiny and precious. And then I'm also gonna use the word congratulations, okay? It's stuck to another stamp at the moment, and congratulations. But before I do that, I want to share with you something about this stamp set. And it's just something that it works for me. So here's just another, I'm just pointing out the benefits of this stamp set, or some of the benefits. So it's obvious you can mix and match and do whatever you'd like with these stamps. But if you look at this, thank you, and then skip down to another image here where my thumb is, beyond grateful, these two match. I mean, the fonts and style are designed to go together. Everything will be okay and faith over fear. These two easily work together. Hey there, what's new? These two, I've used these a bunch. I love these two. That's fun because it's not, you know, a specific purpose. So babies are a blessing. Then you'll notice, so tiny, so precious, they're the same font. The sizes are about the same. Now this congratulations I'm bringing in is a little bit different, but it's gonna be on the inside. Wishing you the happiest of birthdays, because you totally deserve it. So if you look closely, this here is the same as the wishing you the. Okay, so, and then not that you need it, just for you, these sorts of things, those kind of stand alone, but super mega fantastic news, or however, super fantastic mega news. Not that you need it. I mean, just, so there's some things that you can kind of mix and match, but just know, oh, these two go together. Woohoo, super fantastic mega news. So just pointing it out that you've got an inside and an outside greeting if you wanted, okay? So we'll do a little of that and a little of some other stuff as well. So let's get on to some stamping. So I'm going to use the two that are kind of designed to go together, in my opinion. And that is going to be babies are a blessing, so tiny, so precious. And I'm also going to do congratulations. Okay, so on that other scrap of evening evergreen, we're going to do some stamping here. Okay, I got to clean up a few things and unbury it. So evening evergreen, and I'm gonna pull out my Versamark pad and white embossing powder and my embossing buddy. Okay, the embossing is, I don't even know what they're called, but we have the powder pal or whatever, the tray and the embossing buddy and the reverse tweezers, and then there's a paintbrush. Static out of my paper here, and then I'm using my Versamark pad, So Jen, okay, so now all of a sudden the comments are come pouring in. It's interesting. Nothing, 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 and then there's a whole bunch. Okay, so Jen replied to, I was going to get this set, but no motorcycle riders in my circle. I don't have motorcycle enthusiasts in my life either, but I couldn't resist the sweet for some reason. Well, just because you might not be a motorcycle enthusiast, I mean, I have a couple in my garage here and several more in the barn. I'm not an enthusiast, but I definitely like the way they look. I'm fascinated when a Harley comes comes riding down the road. You know that sound, right? You know, there's certain things, you know, I don't have a sailboat in my life either, but I like cards with sailboats. So it's just another, you know, I think sometimes we might hold back a little bit because it's easy for us to make cards for women, for girls, for kids. But this just puts something in your library, the legendary ride I'm speaking of, that you can kind of then step out of the comfort zone and go that direction. So it is a cool set. I had a lot of fun. I guess I had a lot of fun because I wasn't making a flower. And then I paired it with flowers, right? Crazy. Kathleen's still thinking on it. Kat, you haven't used it yet. Hello, Jacqueline. Yeah, it's so funny how these all come in. They come populating in way after comments have been made. Thank you. Okay, so I'm stamping Babies Are a Blessing. Doesn't matter where, just stamp Babies Are a Blessing. There's one. And So Tiny, So Precious. We're gonna come down here, get that one going. And I'm also gonna do Congratulations. Okay, so I know it's a little tricky to see because it's Versamark, but there you have those three. Then I'm gonna dunk in my white embossing powder, and it looks like I need to get a new white, getting low. But see, what's nice with that embossing, with that powder, the embossing buddy, it's rosin. It's nice that I'm not having the other stuff stick everywhere. It just kind of comes right off. Okay, so now we'll take our heat tool and heat these to melt the powder. Okay, let me grab a plate. The reason I like to put a plate underneath is because when I use my heat tool, it makes my paper underneath curly. It gives it like waves, and that drives me nuts. Okay, Jacqueline bought the paper only. So, hold on. Okay, so I was gonna say, kind of backtracking to what Jacqueline said, she bought the paper only. I'm assuming you mean the paper of the legendary ride of that suite. And I think that's a great way, sometimes I'll do that, is I'll buy the DSP of something just so that I can enjoy the suite, but not have the full expense of the entire suite, right? It's a great way. Now, I say that, and I didn't buy the paper. I just bought the stamps and dies. And I have paired it with Fresh as a Daisy, which turned out super cool, you guys. And I'm planning to make more. Okay, so my first tip was a magnetic tray for this, all these little bits and pieces. My second tip for this was sharing the benefits of the coordination of the greetings inside and out. Now, this is the most important tip of all. The most important tip, and this is why I didn't like this bundle to begin with. Let me see if I can find, here they are. Okay, so this is what was driving me nuts about this. Look at that. I'm like, well, that looks terrible. That's not any better. And so that's what I did and left this for almost an entire year before I figured out how to use this the right way. And here's the right way to use it. So this is what I'm going to recommend. Whichever die you are using, the first thing you're going to do is figure out which die it needs to be. Okay, so here comes, I haven't even gotten to tip. So we had magnetic, coordination, this next one, we're going to bypass this next one. Sorry. And I'm going to move right into, this, I'll leave the big, the big, how do you get it done right? How do you frame it just right? We'll leave that as the finale here. My next tip is, okay, so I've stamped this, babies are a blessing. And it's like, well, what the heck? How am I supposed to figure this out on these 2 sheets that they give you? What is what? I mean, it's like, well, I know it's not that. So here's my tip. This bundle was Lisa Curcio's $1 Million Sales Achievement Set, right? And on her website, which is Lisa's Stamp Studio, she has a very important document that you can put in a shopping cart and get for free. But I think Lisa Curcio is an amazing stamper, so I didn't just get the free. I bought a couple tutorials as well. But this is very helpful. And what she has done is made this digital download that matches. So this is, and it may not be to scale, but this page here is page 1, is this first page of this first cardette, I should say, of dies. And you can see it matches. Here's kind of this, the letter I, and then there's this one with the little hook on the end. So these all coordinate to what the greeting is, okay? And then this is page 2 of the dies. And you can see I've got all these kind of pulled off already. But if you look at it and you go, oh, that one there is faith over fear. Ah, that's the one I need. I need babies are a blessing. So if I look on this guide, which she says you can cut and put right inside your envelope here, this is babies are a blessing. And so if I go here, there it is right there on my sheet. And this red dot notes where the top of the die is, and it's for reference only. The sizes aren't accurate. She tells you that. So Lisa's Stamp Studio, you're going to go there and download it and give her some love. Okay. So now I know that that's my babies are a blessing. Holy cow. That's going to be impossible to frame. And that's why I'm going to show you the big trick of all. The big trick of all is you're going to take this die and you're going to run it through a piece of scrap paper, okay? So run your die through your piece of scrap paper, which I've done here, okay? And now you're going to, and you'll see I have some Post-it note tape here, so I'll just kind of put these on my hand for now. Post-it note tape. Okay, you guys, I have to show you Post-it note tape. This is tip number 12 or 14. I don't know what we're on today. Where did it go? Oh, here it is. It's in my little magnetic tray. Post-it note tape. You can get this on Amazon. You can get it in 2 widths. I like the skinnier width. This is actually labeling and cover-up tape, but it's temporary tape, and this is great stuff for holding your dies down. But we're not going to like try and do this business because it's never going to be right. I showed you on my Hey There, What's New, how horrible it looked. But if you frame your greeting the way you want it, and then let's go ahead and stick this down to our paper. And let's see, I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing for these as well. And I already have, used her sheet to figure out what die it is. So let's see, I have congratulations there, and there's the So Tiny, So Precious. And I happen to know that there are these 2 right here. I already did my homework. Okay, so I have my dies ready. Now, I might have to do, I'm maybe going to save the congratulations just so that I can get this out easily enough. So frame your stamped greeting, tape it down with that tape that I showed you, the Post-it tape. Okay. And now you're going to take your die and just set it right inside. Okay. It'll lock in place. Make sure it's kind of rock it into place. set this one in, and then we'll run that. Well, of course my fingers pulled it up, but I'm gonna put those in. You can feel it kind of like set, and run it through your Big Shot or your Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. Cross your fingers, but make sure it is set all the way down into that little guide so that it does work out well. And you know, it may not still be perfect, but it's a lot better than if you didn't do it this way. Okay, so let's see, how did we do? Oh my goodness, I did so good. Look at that. That's so much better than my hey there. Do I need to bring those in? Look at that, okay? So it's nicely framed. That's the way to use this style of, when it's so close, it's just so hard to get it exactly perfect and right. That's the way to do it, is cut yourself a little jig, frame it, and then set your die down inside. Okay, so let's do this congratulations one. Okay, so let's frame it just right, tape it, and if you need a little more tape, just steal it from another. That's the nice thing, is this is reusable, but after a while it does get a little bit verklempt and it needs to be tossed. So, okay, so I'm just kind of rocking that right down into place. Okay, now I have my congratulations. Look at that. Look at how perfect that is. Okay, I'm glad you love this tip, Jacqueline. It's definitely been an eye-opener and made this, you know, I couldn't stand this bundle. I'm like, oh, I have that and it doesn't even work well, and now I love it. Now I would consider getting the other one. Now, here's what's important though, is get your sheets back out that are from Lisa Curcio, and put your dies. So here's the Babies Are a Blessing. Put them back in the right spot. Now, if you're replacing this with a magnetic sheet, do the same thing there. Okay, so there's that one. Put it back just so that that will work. And So Tiny, So Precious, that's gonna be this one here. Goes back there, and then the congratulations goes here. Now I've put things back in place. Okay, so I'm gonna bring this out for our next card too, because I'm gonna need to use it. Okay, so I'll just set these over there. Now let's finish everything up here. This is a pretty simple card. It's not wild and crazy. So we're going to set this. We've got this ready to go. We've got everything ready to go, which is kind of nice. So I'm going to place this kind of up towards the top and in the center. Whoops. Sorry, it goes this way. You're going to tilt it a little bit. Like that. And then Babies Are a Blessing. Let's put a dimensional on the back of that. We're going to kind of offset it right over here. Just make sure it's straight. Whoops, I got a little bit of Post-it note tape on there. I thought, what is that blob on there? There's that. We'll put congratulations inside. Okay, now these are itty bitties, so we need to trim up our die, our these aren't dies, these are, these are dimensionals. Yeah, D's, dimensionals, you know, whatever. So I'm just cutting some skinny pieces here. Because even the mini dimensionals don't fit, you guys. They're too big. I had to keep cutting them off. Okay, and these teeny tiny little pieces are a bear. Okay, where is that? Okay, so I've got that one stuck down. That one. We'll stretch this right into here. And hopefully it doesn't show. Oh, good, just barely. Okay, so Tiny, So Precious. And we'll take this right across the bottom. So what we've done is taking our greeting, and instead of having a big, huge, you know, focal point or whatever, the focal point of this card is the greeting itself. Okay, so we'll continue to kind of work things. So remember I said cut a whole bunch of stars? I have way more than a whole bunch here. I have several. And we're just going to add some more stars to our card just to make it kind of fun. And I'm going to do one right about here. So we're just kind of continuing the star theme. And I'm going to kind of tuck it underneath. So we have a little peeking out from behind the curtain here. And remember when I said I have to undo my glue every few minutes? Yep, I'm undoing some glue here. Okay, one of these skinny little stars, I'm gonna do just a teeny bit, just tiny little bits. Those I can't just put a glue dot down on my paper and hope that it's gonna be good, because it's just too skinny. But we'll do another one right there. And I have some unwanted guests here in the form of glue. Okay, put my star back there, star there. And I'm gonna do one more up here. So I'm just kind of having some stars that are kind of twinkling down the page or the card front here. Another one right up there. And I'm gonna do a little one peeking through down here. Just holding my finger under there. I take your pick tool. And it's peeking through, just kind of like that other one up above. Give that a good press. And now I'm going to do some up on here. So let's see here. Let's do some that are definitely going to show up. We'll do one right about here and another one right about there. Okay, so we'll got this one. And we'll do, let's see. Oh yeah, let's do this one. That's a little darker. I'll show up just a little bit more. So we have some stars, and yeah, they're subtle in there, but who says it has to be bam in your face? Now to finish the front of this, I am using up, these are old, you guys, Noble Peacock rhinestones, but I felt that the colors were, they would kind of work with what I was doing today. And I'm all about using it up. So I'm going to use up these purple ones for this card here. And we'll just make this star. I'm going to rotate it a little bit. We're going to kind of punch it up, make it show up just a little bit more by adding a rhinestone to it. Okay. Maybe a couple rhinestones on the wands. Let's get in the camera here. Okay. And I'm going to do one more up there. That way we can just kind of have a sprinkling of them coming down. And I think I'm going to do one more right kind of there. Now let's finish off the inside. And so I'm not going to do a whole lot in here. I am going to put the congratulations and a few more stars. Let's see here. Dimensionals. Need some more of these skinny dudes. Here's a nice skinny section there. We'll do another one there. And a skinny piece there. Okay. Got a couple dimensionals lengthwise. Okay. My dog is hearing your dog. You know what? My mom's dog, Ruby, will hear them. And she does the same thing. What? I hear doggies. What? With all the pressure to use new product, it's refreshing to see you pull out the oldies but goodies. Well, I totally agree. And that's why I started the whole use it up class. The whole concept, you know, yeah, why not use what's in our stash? And Jen Frost, she actually started that whole campaign a while back, use your stash. And so I thought, oh, what a great idea. I'm going to have a use it up class. So thank you, Jen. Okay, so I'm just gonna put the congratulations kind of up across the top here. Make sure it's straight. And then let's sprinkle on a few more stars. Let's do one over here for fun. And we'll do another one right here. Oh, hold on. Let me find one that I put a dot down and there's no way I can put those framed ones. So we'll do this little one right here. Okay, so now since I have, and this is what I mean by they're kind of framed, you have to add a little glue to this, very little, so it doesn't show. But let's just do a few here. And let's see, I've got another one, maybe one right there. Just having some fun. Like I say, it's just kind of a little bit of a greeting, a little bit of decor, but it's also subtle. Many places for the eye to rest here. Okay, but let's do a few more of these gems inside. So there are some that peek through, but when we open this, so I've got like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, you know, they kind of work that way. So now, if I'm working in that, thinking of things in threes, I've got 1, 2, so if I do another one, say right about here, I've got 2 that are kind of friends, so to say. These 2 are nearby, and then that one's far away, but we have these, so let's use them up. Who says we can't load it up, right? So, and I think I'll do a 5th. I wish I had another small one, but we'll do this. Okay, and then I've left the inside perfectly blank for you to write whatever you'd like, and then, you know, tuck a little gift card in there, whatever you'd like to do. And so there you have. And let's see how this looks when we actually finish it up. There you have it. We're gonna take our ribbon here, even it out just a little bit more. And I want the bow to land right in here. And so because we put that glue on at the beginning, just here and here, we can slide this to whatever height we want it. And I kind of want it by the up above. Okay, and then just tie bow. Awesome. There you have it. Our first card is done there. Totally different. No Stella. Oh no, she's here. She's always in the party. Right? And so what could be fun here is to get your Stella going. I'm going to do it off to the side and give her a good flick. For sure. And then maybe even give a little bit extra on the stars. Go ahead and punch them up a little bit. And I think I even did something like this. You know. And inside. So have some fun. And you could do the ones on the inside as well, but I don't want to untie the card for right now. But there you have it. Okay? Super cute. I hope that you've learned something. We're going to go over the same thing in the next 2 cards. We're going to do everything the same way. So look, here's my card, my original. So you can see I had different DSP, but it totally still works. So use up your packs of DSP for sure. So there's card number 1. All right, card number 2. This is going to be fun as well. It's kind of a shabby chic type of look. Okay, and so for this next card, we're going to use the greeting that says, wishing you everything wonderful. And to me, the one that this pairs with is congratulations, if we're looking at the fonts, okay? And so the word wonderful and the word congratulations. So to me, congratulations, wishing you everything wonderful. A great outside and inside, but I'm going to reverse it and make this be the greeting and this will be the salutation inside. Okay, so wishing you everything wonderful, congratulations. Those are going to be our stamps. And let's see, ink-wise, for this, we are using, because we're using up soft suede and evening evergreen, I brought these. I know they're retired, but I still have them. I am using them. These are great colors. Kathleen, That DSP is retired. So I don't think it's available anymore. It's the Flora DSP, the Fancy Flora DSP. I don't know, I call it the Fancy Flora DSP. I'm not sure if it's still available, but it is a beautiful set of papers. Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, so for this one, then I am going to use, let's see, paper-wise, I'm going to use a piece of soft suede cardstock. And this soft suede cardstock is 11 by 5.5. And let's see, where have I scored it? I have scored it at 2.5. So that's 2.5, and this score is 6 3/4. And so I'll pull my trimmer out and we'll double check all that in just a second. I also have a 1/4 sheet of Very Vanilla that I'm going to use for this card. And let's see, I also have, using these up, I had a whole bunch of these. I had cut for something and then we didn't use them. So I'm like, oh, we are gonna use these up. So that's a soft succulent stitched rectangle. Be Still My Heart, loved stitched rectangles. We'll never put those away. And then I don't even remember the name of this ribbon, you guys, but it's a pretty loose ribbon. I think it came as a combo pack with Old Olive, if I remember correctly. So this is the last of it. This is the last piece I have of it. When I finish this card, we have used it up entirely. Okay, so let's see. Now that I have my supplies, let me go to my sheets here that I have printed out from Lisa Curcio. And since we're doing Wishing You Everything, I'm just gonna look, there it is, right there, Wishing You Everything. That's the die I need, so I know that's gonna be on sheet number 1. That's this one here, so I need that die. And then we already know about the congratulations. We used that one, so there's that die. So now I have my dies. Okay, again, Lisa's Stamp Studio. That's where you'll find that. I talked more about it earlier. If you've jumped on late, Kayleen, I know you've jumped on a little bit late. Let's see. I'm also using, brand new in the catalog, a 2 3/8 circle punch. Hello, love it. Look, there's my camera. Oh, there's me. Sorry. Okay, so 2 3/8. I'm gonna punch myself a circle. So you could use any size circle really, or if you have a die or you just wanna cut a rectangle, that would work as well. But I wanted to get that punched out so that I can use the rest of this to stamp and do some things here. So let's stamp this image. I'm gonna use Soft Succulent and I'm gonna use Evening Evergreen, both colors. So Wishing You Everything, I'm gonna ink up in Soft Succulent fully, okay? And then maybe I could have just inked it up partially, but just take like a paper towel or something, and I'm just gonna kind of wipe some of that off so I don't totally muck up my Evening Evergreen here. And now I'm gonna do the bottom half in Evening Evergreen, just kind of create a little bit of a two-tone effect with a little bit of an ombre. So there's my Wishing You Everything. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Now, these are darker inks and I've got a lot right there. And this is a photopolymer set. So I am gonna get that ink off as quick as I can to minimize, it won't eliminate, but it will help minimize the staining, right? Okay, so that one's done. Now let's do the same thing with congratulations. And so this time I'm gonna do it the right way and just kind of ink up the top half of the stamp, which I should have done on the other. And now I'm gonna ink up the bottom half, or 2/3. Go ahead and stamp that one. Ta-da, looks good. Looking good, looking good. Okay, I'm gonna close my ink pads because I don't wanna wreck everything, right? And because we're gonna do some fun stuff with this, oh man, hold on. Before I start to get ink on things and go, well, how did I get that there? Let me get it off me. Do you guys ever wash your hands with your chamois? Okay, so I'm gonna chop this off, right? That way we don't scar that paper going through the Big Shot Stampin' Cut and Boss machine. Okay, so just like on my first card, I'm gonna pull my frame, my jig back out. So frame the word and stick it down. Now the bummer is, okay, I hope it doesn't move because I don't have my tape. Let's see, well, let's just go like this. Get it down the right way. Let's turn it over and put the tape on the back. Yeah, it's gonna die cut it, but that's okay. I don't care. Okay, so then we take our die and we set it right down in there. Make sure it clicks and sets in there just right. Run it through. Okay, perfectly framed. You take that off. Look, this tape, not too bad. Peel that off. Now I do have a little, I have one made for the Wishing You Everything. Same thing. So this whole, die cutting it on a piece of scrap and framing it, you could do this with any die. But I think particularly with this stamp set and these dies being framed so close, you really need this technique, this tip. So hopefully you guys will try it. Let me know what you think. I sure think it made a whole world of difference for me using this. Okay, set that right down inside and off it goes. Look at that. So perfect. Yeah, you could use washi tape, Jolinda. I would with washi tape though. Well, and because you're not putting washi tape, like sometimes when we use washi tape, we'll like put the washi tape right across our die. I'm not putting the washi tape on any of the greeting. So yeah, you could use washi tape. Sometimes when you do like use washi tape across something that you're die cutting, you might want to like run your washi tape over your pant leg or your shirt just to lint it up a little bit, because sometimes washi tape can be really, really sticky. I do like this because it's not that sticky, yet it totally will stick, but it's not too much. Okay, so moving right along with all of our bits and pieces here, I'm going to return my pieces back. Let me bring in my cheat sheet here. So the congratulations goes this direction right there on the card. And then this one goes this way. Okay, for this to work, you have to maintain where things are going on your pieces here. Okay, over there like that. Okay, so now that we have our pieces, we're gonna do a little bit of embossing. And so you could use any embossing folder, but I thought this is the, what is this called? Painted, I can never remember the name of this one. Painted something or other, 3D painted, I don't know. But I thought, gosh, that looks so much like the paper here. It was a no-brainer to use. And just like we did in our Sweet Citrus card, I want to emboss the inside of my card here. So this one, it didn't really matter, because this one works both forwards and backwards in my opinion, so this way or that way. So I'm setting though my cardstock, this piece, inside, and I'm going to put that score line right on the edge there. Okay, now this is going to go through my Stampin' Cut and Boss machine, but I'm going to be super careful because I'm breaking the rule. This should always go through first, but it's going to go through sideways, so that I can get this done on my paper here. So let me show you. I'm trying to slide my plates over. So here's plate number 1. And I'm going to put this down, and it's the exact same size. Make sure that it is not off any little bit. Painted texture. Ding, 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 ding. Kayleen gets the prize for helping us out the fastest. Thank you. I appreciate that. I knew it was something painted, but I couldn't remember the word texture. Okay, so we're getting that on there. Make sure it's straight. You missed the scoring on the card. Okay, the scoring on the card, I'm gonna have to, when I pull it out, I believe it's 2.5 and 6 3/4. When I pull this out, I will double check, Kaylee. I was supposed to like tell you that, but I forgot. Okay, so there's the inside. Let's double check this measurement. So we know this piece is 5.5 by 11. Let me open up the arm here. And so our first score line is at 2.5. And then if you move this along, the second one is 6 3/4. Okay? That's right. Kayleen is always our helper. Kayleen, would you happen to know if the fancy Flora paper is completely gone? There's a question. So this is 5.5, and half of 5.5 is 2 3/4. And so I'm going to make this a pocket. So I'm just doing a little, you could do that with a pencil. I just use my little cutting blade just because I don't always have a pencil handy. But that tells me where center is so that I can make my little notch here, which is kind of a guide. And I say put a pocket in every card. You don't have to, but it sure makes it convenient if you want to do something. Okay? Okay, so our card is going to come something like that. So that's going on the inside. This is going to get a piece of DSP on top, but you can see I'm getting a buckle here. So I'm going to open my card here and I'm going to slice just a little off. Just that hairline. Hopefully that will be enough. Ah, wonderful. So give yourself a little bit of a haircut there because that is going to be our card front. Is going to open like so. Okay? Shouldn't take this away too far. I want you to look at your DSP and find a DSP. Okay, find a DSP that has some of evening evergreen and some soft suede. So this is completely unlike my first card. Okay, completely unlike, but it's gonna work, but I'm gonna show you. So I could use that one too, but I'm gonna use this one here, okay? And I am looking at my cards and I went, I think I used the wrong piece of DSP on my card earlier. Oh well. I should have used that one for our last card. So this piece here, what I want you to do is, it doesn't matter, it's 6 by 6. In one direction, go ahead and make it so that it's 5.5 by 6. So I've just got one edge on there at 5.5. Okay, now turn it and we're going to score it at 4 1/4. Okay, I did that kind of fast, so let me go back and repeat. So what this is, it was 6 by 6, right? So we're moving it to 5.5, and I just cut off a 1/2 inch. Then I rotated it 90 degrees, and I scored it at 4 1/4. Okay, so now we're going to 4 1/4 right there. Okay, and I actually made the pocket on the wrong side, but that's okay. My pocket was supposed to be here, but we're just gonna do it slightly different. Okay, so we're going to glue this down. It is gonna be the pocket. The engagement notch is just in our other side. Instead of in our DSP, where it should have been, it's in our paper, but that's okay. Okay, so just glue the sides down so that you have access into there. I'm pretty sure it's gone too. It was on that last chance list. And man, is it pretty paper. And I'm down to the bare nubbins. Lips are chapped. Okay, so now this piece here, this flap here, we're gonna put glue on the whole thing. Remember, this engagement notch should have been in the DSP. Totally okay though. It still gives us access to our pocket. It's just gonna feel a little weird. Okay, so let me close this. close this. Now this piece here, flip it over, and it's gonna lay right on top. And so get that centered just right. Beautiful. And so now almost that entire piece of DSP was used. Let's get this glued down. So it's okay if the engagement notch is there. You can see where the pocket is. The pocket's there, right? Okay, there's that. And since we're here on the inside of the card, let's do some stamping. Totally like, okay. Soft suede ink. And I'm going to use the word congratulations. Let's see if I can find it. Here it is. And it does have a little bit of evening evergreen on it. So let me give it just a little bit of a quick clean. And I'm going to use the word congratulations. Let me grab some scratch paper here. Put some scratch paper under your surface. And I'm going to use the word congratulations as a, to create a background, okay? So to me, I think one thing when you have a sentiment stamp set only, you can easily use those sentiments to create some fun backgrounds. So what I'm gonna do is just kind of do the word, I'm just gonna try and keep it fairly straight, and I'm just gonna kind of move it over here and there and stamp it a bunch of times. Like so. Just something a little bit like that. You bring that up so you can see it. And look, I missed on one, but that's totally okay. You'll see why here in 2 seconds. Okay, so I seem to have lost. Easy to do. Here's my greeting for the front. Oh, here it is. So this congratulations is going to go right over top. And maybe I will do it off-centered since it's not stamped just right. But again, we're going to cut our dimensionals so that we can kind of go right up that congratulations here. It's a little skinny, and the minis just don't quite fit. They're just a little too big, or I would use them. There's that. Let me get one more little skinny here. Okay, ta-da. Hopefully I don't have to cut my own anymore today. I think we're done with all the little skinny little pieces. But we'll flip this over and we'll just add that. You know, you could come over, you could go up. I'm gonna kind of come, I am gonna go center. Mistakes since it's changing my words. That's oh yes, they're happenings. That's what my mom calls them, happenings. You just go with it, right? Okay, so we are gonna add more to the inside of this. And what is that going to be? Well, let's take this remaining piece of Very Vanilla here and grab yourself some blends. And let's see, I have Soft Succulent, Evening Evergreen, Soft Suede, and is this Crumb Cake or Gray Granite? It is Light Crumb Cake. And so I like doing this technique. It's kind of fun. It doesn't look like much, but just go ahead and color yourself. I need new crumb cake blends. You can see I'm almost out of ink there. And then let's do some soft suede. And no, sorry, soft succulent. This is soft suede. Just kind of blend right into there, right? And a little evening evergreen. Wrong end. Like, whew, there we go. Okay, now I'm gonna take my crumb cake, which is a bummer because, and I'm just gonna kind of blend into this a little bit more. It's a little dry. But just kind of create yourself some of your own background paper. Maybe blend into that evening evergreen with the succulent there. You just want it to blend a little bit. Blend a little in here. And the wetter it gets, the more it starts to blend. But now this is starting to look really pretty. Okay, and to this, we are going to die cut a whole bunch of hearts, okay? But I'm going to show you another tip here. So I'm going to cut, okay, my paper here into pieces. And we're just going to hold 2 of these together, put the smaller one on top, grab your heart dies. Okay, there's 2 of them. There's a solid heart, so just like the stars. And let's go ahead and I'm going to die cut like, I don't know, 5 or 6 sets of hearts. Okay, let me take out my plates here. But by doubling them up, that will just kind of speed you up a little bit. Okay. Okay, so here's several. There's a couple there. I'm just going to kind of make a stash, little pile of my little die cuts here. So there's this tiny little heart right here. Let's see if I can separate it. There's 2, and then these little outlines. Look how cute these are. But look how fun that is. So those lines that seemed obnoxious and weird, when you end up die cutting things, it all goes away. It all gets, you know, worked out. I'm going to close this ink pad. Sorry, you guys. I just don't want to set anything in it. Okay, let's do it again. So I have 2 more pieces. Now what I am going to kind of be aware of is last time I put this kind of open die, I did it on the soft suede and the crumb cake. So I'm just going to reverse it this time and put that in the evergreen and succulent so that my, you know, just kind of paying attention to that. And I think I'm going to do 1 more set. Okay. And of course my paper is a little color is a little different from my original. So I really could have used some, since I have some, looks like I have Calypso and blush, I could have used some blush. And I do have my blush pad out, so I might paint some hearts here in just a second. Okay, so now I have a bunch of hearts. I'm going to put these dies back in my magnetic little bowl there so I don't lose them. Okay, and let's start to assemble everything. One last thing we're going to do though, this piece here, I am going to give it a chop. Let's go ahead and have it be a little less than 4 1/4. Okay, because I'm going to use this piece. We're going to add just a little bit more decor on the inside flap. I'm going to add this piece right there. Okay, so this was the strip when we cut it down to 5 1/2 by 6. This was that 1/2 inch strip. So now it's a 1/2 inch by 4 1/8. And that's going to set right there. Okay, now I have my pieces ready and I can start to decorate. Here's my card front. Now this here and here, I forgot a step that I was going to do. Oh, shoot. And I forgot it on my original too. This die right here, the little holes, I was actually going to do them in here so that I had some of the suede poking through, but oh well. Next time. soft suede or soft succulent. We're going to glue this piece down. Right there, like so. Okay. This one we're going to add with dimensionals. I'm not going to do anything to it. It's just going to stay, you know, we're keeping it kind of a little bit more clean. Okay. And that's going to set like right about here. And wishing you everything wonderful. Let's throw some dimensionals on that. Like throw it, like we could really throw it, right? I don't think it really needed 3, but it's getting 2.5, 2 3/4. So are these blends the light or dark? You know what? I think for the most part, they're all the lights, but it doesn't matter. I just grab them. You could do the die with a strip of soft suede and have the DSP. Oh yeah, that's a good idea. I just don't have it. Well, I do. I could use some of this. And that's a good idea, Kayleen. That's a really good idea. But, oh well. Okay, easy. Look how that just kind of sets everything up. Now, this piece here, I'm going to take my fabric scissors and I'm going to cut right up the middle, because this is going to be just a nice, easy, shabby look. And to make this easier, I try and hold the ribbon a little bit more taut with my thumb right on the blade. Whoops, getting a little crazy there. Driving all swervy. Yeah, it's a CUI, cutting under the influence. Ta-da! Okay, there's that. And I'm also going to get some linen thread going here. And my linen thread, I'm going to take a piece that's about yay long, and we're going to deconstruct our thread because I want to match the shabbiness. Yes, this ribbon is the perfect ribbon for this technique. I agree, Kayleen. I mean, it's like it doesn't get any better. So I've just twisted against the twist of my linen thread, and you can see that it just allows me to separate those. And so slowly I'm going to pull and kind of eke things down. There's one thread. And I'm just going to pull this so that I have a couple threads going here. Okay. And there's 3 threads to this linen thread. It's interesting. Not all linen thread is created equal. Sometimes it's 2. Most of the time it's 3, but I've had a few lately that have been just 2. A few spools. Okay, I'm just trying to separate it. Come on. Okay, finally. Okay. So, and then I'm just kind of straightening that, clean it up just a little bit, take that away. Okay, so there's my 2 pieces and these 2 pieces, and I want to shabby these up just a little bit more. And to do that, I'm just going to run my thumbnail over it, and see I kind of pulled some threads out, and at the same time, it just softened that and made it has a slight little bit of wave to it. At the same time, it just kind of is fun. So here's my original before, and there's the after. It just, so run it. So I'm really pulling it right over my thumbnail. Okay. A couple times, get all these extra pieces out of the way. Okay. So now here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take, because my piece of ribbon wasn't very long and I wanted the tails to feel a little bit longer, instead of holding both end to end, look, I'm still pulling pieces out. I'm going to slightly adjust it by about an inch. Okay. So they're not lined up, but I am going to try and line up and tie a bow here. Bunny ears. Hold on. I'm going to do my bunny ears a little bigger. Okay. Oh boy, I got an extra loop going here. I don't know what that is. Let's see if, oh, there, I figured it out. Maybe, maybe not. I can't find my ends. There's 2. And there's my other 2. Okay, hold on, she's having issues. Okay, I've got to tie over because look, it really does work. It does elongate. Let's see. Just kind of clean it up. Okay. Offset. That'll help lengthen things, right? We'll try it not bunny ears. We'll try it doing this way. I do the bunny ears when I have like a cut piece because then you have to kind of try and get it in the center of that piece. Okay. Might have to tie it a 3rd time. But for time's sake, yep, we're going to have to tie it a 3rd time. Hold on. Maybe she'll get it done. 3rd time's a charm, right? I'm feeling it this time. Okay, it is going to work this time. Okay, so, you know, that's just sometimes your ribbon just doesn't do what you want it to do. So you have to do it several times and tell it who is boss for sure. But I do actually really like that putting them, staggering them, so that then the bow seems longer than what it really is. Okay, so this ugliness right now, we're going to make look better. It's going to, let me get all my little wispies out of the way here. We're going to set that right in here. But I'm going to take this piece here and actually kind of integrate the 2. And that is, so let me move this out of the way. So I have my shabby deconstructed bow here. And I'm just gonna take, and you saw I put the knot right over top. And now I'm not even gonna tie a knot. I'm just gonna tie my linen thread right around it. There we go. And now it looks like they're tied together, but they don't get lost. Now hold your finger on that. Kind of splay these the way you like and just create a little shabby fun bow, which I think is fun with this paper. Okay, and so now I'm going to flip this over and I can play with it a little bit more once I have it secured to my card. And I'm going to use some glue dots. I'll put a couple glue dots on here. We'll glue dot the knot. Okay, so there's a couple of them, and I'm just mashing it in there so that it just really kind of gets into the fibers. And we'll just pull these little covers off. Again, you know, these are the paper pumpkin glue dots. I tried using the boxed ones the other day. I'd put the box back away. I'm like, eh. So now I'm just going to add this right in there, and I'm really going to kind of mush where those glue dots are and help them, you know, really stick into the cardstock. But just splay these the way you want and trim your tails where you need to. Like I'll trim these, are a little long compared to everything else. There you have it. It's kind of a fun, shabby bow. Let's put a few of these hearts on. Okay, we'll do it with the glue and the take your pick tool. And so, actually, I'm gonna put them on with some minis where I can. So I'm gonna grab one of the solid hearts. Okay, all I pulled off was covers. Okay, so there's one glue, one heart. We're just gonna kind of tuck it right up there. And then I'll do a brown one. Set it here. That's pretty. And then let's see, do I have a darker inner side? Yeah, I do. So for this inside heart, I'm just gonna put a little glue right there on this heart, and then we'll set that one. So it's just kind of set in between these two. Cute, cute, cute. And let's do a little bit more of this heart action. I'm gonna set a tiny bit of glue right there. Pop that one on top. and one of these open, the framed hearts. Just tiny bits of glue, it'll hold it. You'd be surprised, it doesn't take much. This I'm gonna overlap this one. Maybe. Might have to do just a little bit of wiggling things around. But do wiggle it around and make sure that it engages in the paper. Because if you just set it there, it might not stick all the way. And then I'm gonna do one more, and let's see. I'll do a soft suede one. And I'm gonna do it down here. Okay, so there's that. Let me go back to my Noble Peacock. Okay, now there are some pretty peacock in here. Oh, there's some pink. Let's see here. I'm looking at my DSP. Let's try the pink. They're actually supposed to be for the last card, but we're gonna use them on this one because my color, my DSP is different. So let's use this kind of rose color, and we're just gonna kind of add some gems here and there on the front. Okay, maybe one here. And I'll do another one right there. Okay, it's a little different from my original, but that's okay. So there is our front. Oh, Kayleen, she says, Liz, did you know that the Take Your Pick crafter tips are in stock now? I thought of you when I ordered them today. Okay, I am so glad you let me know that. You guys, the Take Your Pick tool has a new addition that has a hobby blade. And that is the first thing on my list, and it wasn't orderable until today, Kayleen says. So, oh yes, I'm gonna get that and the add-ons for the June Paper Pumpkin Kit. Again, I'll say it, the June Paper Pumpkin Kit is, it is all about the Welcome In suite. And we know we have matching dies, and last time they sold out super fast, so I'm gonna get those today too. Okay, a few more of these hearts on the inside, and we will call this one Art and Complete. So I'm gonna do a heart here, and I'm gonna glue a flat one. Yeah, they are, yeah, you thought of that addition just for me. Oh yeah, I called them up and said, could you make a hobby blade? Back in the day, I used to have 2 of them, and I don't know what happened to them, but they said Stampin' Up on them, just like this. I have a feeling kids took them and used them like at school, and they're long gone. Okay, I'm using another one of my hearts here. And I'm gonna add those last few hearts on the next inside. Okay, just like so. And now, I think what I will do for inside here, I'm gonna take my Evening Evergreen, and I'm actually gonna take the bullet end. Usually we would use this marker end, but if you use that marker end, it really is rough on your blend here. So I'm just ever so slightly changing the color of these peacock, just adding a little hint of evergreen to them. You still have yours from, oh, you're lucky. Wish I still had mine. Like I say, kids and school projects, you know. Okay, so I colored 5. I maybe could have colored one of these big guys. I colored 6. Okay, we'll let those dry. And it just kind of, it's a hint. It's not a huge amount of difference here, but it just gives a little bit. Just changes that peacock just a little bit. So we'll add one up here, and I'll do a couple friends down here. We'll maybe add that there, and I'm going to save that big one for the inside, and then this one will have a buddy over here. Okay, so there's this layer here, and let's do a few more hearts to finish this up on the inside. You know, just a little. Carry it over, carry the theme. That. Take your pick. Hey, get on the glue. There's that. And the last few gems that I colored. We'll do one playing around. Here's this big one that I colored. We'll do that like right there. Okay, there you have it. But I have one last heart, but, oh yeah, I'll glue it on. It's like, do I need it? No, but I have it, so yeah, why not? It won't overkill it. We'll do one right there. Okay. There you have it. Let's Wink of Stella it, because Wink of Stella on this soft suede is super pretty. Okay. Give that just a second or two to dry. But I don't know if you guys can, you can't. But it really does make a difference. I am going to color these bigger hearts. Okay, I'm not going to worry about that guy. Okay, I need some help here. This is what really, I love Wink of Stella on these darker colors. It's so pretty. Color this one because we can. And now let's do the front. And then we'll give it a little bit more. Okay, and there you have it. There is our congratulations card. Let me show you my original, completely different paper. So, super fun. Same thing. Okay, a little bit different just because it's a different paper. But have some fun using that up. Have some fun playing a little bit with that, that layout. I like this, putting this type of fold on the front because that gives you, it's a nice folded edge. So try that with your DSP. So there's that. Now we have a happy birthday card and then we'll call it finished for today. So our happy birthday card, this is going to be interesting because I have blush and navy here and I used the wrong piece of paper on my baby card. That's okay. So what I have left here, I don't think I want that piece because of the soft suede. And that's not pretty. I think I'm going to use this one, or I could use this one. Okay, I'm throwing it out there, folks. Which should be our card? Should we do the card with this color facing up or this color? You tell me. I think I like that one, but okay, I'm waiting for some comments here. A drink. No comments. Okay, going my way then. We're going to go this way. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. So we have a little bit of some pieces here. This piece, it doesn't really matter. You just need some navy. We're going to stamp and punch on that. This one here it's 1.5 inches wide, and it's, how long is this? It's 11. Excuse me, it's 11. So we're going to do, this is going to be our belly band. Doesn't matter how big your blush is. This has a score line through it. We're not using it. We're just going to be using this to do some cutting and whatnot. But this piece here, so this is our card base. And so your card base is 8.5 by 5.5. And I have scored it at 2 1/8 and 6 3/8. Okay, so this is your card base. 5.5 by 8.5. Score it at 2 1/8 on the long edge and 6 3/8 on the long edge. Okay, so there's our card base. And then we're going to take this piece here and let's see. I'm going to turn it this way. We're going to cut it to be 4 inches wide. So pick your paper. It's 4 by 6. I read 6 by 6 now. Let's make it 4 by 6. Save that. You never know when we're going to use it. Now turn this and make it 5 1/4. So 5 1/4 by 4. 5 1/4 by 4. Save that. You never know when we're going to use it. Now turn it back this direction and let's cut it right down the middle at 2 inches. Okay, so 4 by 5 1/4, then cut in half long ways. We've commented you just didn't see it. Yeah, I don't know why they don't populate. That drives me nuts. Okay, keep your papers kind of in order because they're gonna kind of come together like so. So you want them to look like that there's no cut in them. So be sure you're matching your pattern back up. Or mix it up, it's up to you. Totally up to you. Let's see here, it does go this way. And so this is gonna go right on that edge. Okay, so you want an even on the top, the side, and the bottom, the best you can. And then let's put this one on this side. Okay. Cool. There you have it. You can barely even tell there's a cut in it, right? So there is our front. Now in your Use It Up kit, there is a piece of white. Let me see, what did I do with my white? I don't know where my white paper is. Okay. I really don't know where my white piece of paper went. Well, you have a piece of white that goes on the inside. So let me just grab another one. It's in my mess. Do you guys end up in a total mess by the time you're done with things? I sure do. There's your white. Okay, so our white piece here is 4 by 6. Why is it 4 by 6? I don't know. That's just, I was using up pieces that I had. So we're gonna change this to 4. It's already 4 inches wide by 5 1/4, okay? And let me tell you why I choose some of the dimensions I choose. Sometimes my inside might be the entire section, or sometimes in this case, since my layer in front is a 4 by 5 1/4, I am going to do 4 by 5 1/4 on the inside and just repeat that same, lineup. Save this little piece. We're going to do some die cutting with that. Oh yes, you're a messy crafter. So if I were to turn the camera just right here on the other side of this ink pad, it's complete bombshell. Like a bomb went off over here. I just keep dumping stuff. The garbage piles over here, the papers, everything. And then you wonder why I can't find all my stuff. And that would be why. Okay, so, all right. This piece is going to go on the inside. So I'm going to do just a little bit of glue here. Like I say, it's just trying to get some things out of the way. There's that. Okay, so our card base is ready. Now let's do a few more things, or a whole bunch more things. The first thing I want you to do with your Blushing Bride is cut yourself a strip, a 1-inch strip of, I'm sorry, a 3/4 inch strip of Blushing Bride. So 3/4 inch strip, okay? And I am going to use my Happy Labels punch. And you haven't seen me use this one yet because I just got it. But this is like the Banners Pick-a-Punch or Builder Punch. This is Happy Labels Pick-a-Punch. And so you get different ends. You have a nice fun scalloped end and you have a ticket end. And what do these lines mean? That doesn't mean they're gonna fold there. What it means is you have these guides and you can cut at a 1/2, 3/4, and 1 inch strips, okay? Jacqueline says, I always end up with 6 by 6 area to stamp and mountains surrounding me. Is that not the truth? I mean, seriously. Then I start opening like my desk drawers and using that as a surface area. It's pretty sad. Okay. I am going to put my piece in here. So I've got a 3/4 inch strip, right? So I'm just setting it inside. And look how sweet that is. Let's do both ends. Ta-da! But we're gonna turn this into 2 pieces of paper. Now I'm gonna move this out of the way instead of just dumping on the side over here where I can't find anything. I'm gonna take my bone folder and totally, just like we did with all the flowers, just break down these fibers. Just keep going. Just keep curling it. Now flip it over and do it the other direction. Once you do that, look at that. They all just kind of split apart, but keep it going. Look, I even like that look. But just completely break down the fibers so that these basically just fall apart, just like so. Cool. Now we're gonna kind of, don't fold them in half exactly, but just kind of make them a little bit cattywampus, like so. Do the same thing to the other one. Fun. Okay, so this is gonna be some banner action happening. And since we have that 2 3/8 inch circle punch, hello, hi, there's me again. Okay, kind of work this to one end, get that way over in the corner because we're gonna do some stamping on that. And let's see here. Let's just add a little bit of glue to this. We'll start with this. We're gonna need some more glue though. And I'm going to just eke this over, just so that these kind of show out the side there. And I'm just gonna put a little glue right there to hold it down, and a little more glue right on top for the next one. Cute, 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 cute. So real fast little fun banner in back. Instead of ribbon, we're using paper ribbon. Lovely. Okay, that is ready for our card. This strip of paper here that we have as leftover, we're gonna cut this piece to be 1 1/4 inches wide by 4 1/4. We might have to trim it down. We'll see in just a second, but there's 4 1/4, and then I'm gonna make it be 1 1/4. Start with 4 1/4 because we're gonna make a belly band. It's gonna kind of wrap, but it's gonna go on top of our navy. So our navy is gonna eke in here. Gonna come around, okay? And with one side, I want you to just kind of fold that around. And then this side here, I'm just gonna make a little mark with my pencil. Okay, and I'm gonna trim that off. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is we're gonna glue this around our card, but we wanna keep it loose enough that it can be a belly band, okay? So, like, see, it's not gonna, if I bring it all the way to the edge like that, it's gonna be really hard to slide this on and off. So I'm just gonna kind of hold it back a little bit and glue that down. Okay, so I'm gonna put glue there and glue there. Okay, and again, I'm not gonna hold it super, super tight. It's got a little wiggle room, but I am gonna hold it for a few minutes until that glue sets up. What should we talk about while we're waiting for the glue to dry? Yes, Kayleen, I really enjoy the 2 3/8. And you'll find that is in the annual catalog, but there are some other circle punches that have been added, and they're in the online exclusives. Okay, so now this is the right width, but I just didn't know how much, so it looks like we're gonna take off about 3/16. It's not quite 4 inches, you know, you want it to be like 4. Yeah, just take some off. I just wanted it to have an even border all the way around, and because it's a little bit wider than 4 1/4, we need a little bit more than just 4 inches. Okay, so we're there. Yes, I have all my circle punches. They're all the whale tail. Oh, so they're the older punches that Stampin' Up! Used to have a whole line of circle punches, and they're the whale tail fashion. I still have all of mine. Okay, this is going to add here. So we're just doing a classic belly band look here. And I think because we're gonna get puffy, I'm gonna glue this on. So just put your glue in the center, because remember that it hangs off the edges a little bit. So just center that. Okay. Just like so. Good. Okay, so now with these pieces, we have some stamping and stuff to do. In fact, we're gonna need these pieces as well. This one right here for sure. Okay, so what I want you to do with this piece here is grab some adhesive sheet. Now, these are the older adhesive sheets, but they work exactly like the newer ones. They just don't say Sizzix all over them. But peel some of that adhesive sheet. So this is the sticky side. This is not. Take your DSP and set it on top. And then I like to close that shut, then I'm not exposed to as much sticky. And then just cut this out. Okay, and now that would fall right off. That's perfect for another use. But now what I want you to do is we're gonna use a couple dies, more dies in here. There are 3 that we're gonna use here. We're going to use this rectangle, so that's going to be our candle base. And for the candle base, I'm going to use Blushing Bride. So I'm gonna cut 3 of those. And then with the DSP, I'm gonna cut 3 of those there. And then with the flame here, I'm gonna try and aim, or you can, I've already got them cut out for time's sake, but you know, you could aim for certain spots on your DSP. So there's that little flame. So we're working with 3 tiny little pieces here. The flame, let me flip it over. That's kind of the decorative candle and the wick that will help us to be able to attach the flame. And then the candle base. And so you're gonna die cut 3, 3, and 3. And I've done that ahead of time. So you definitely don't need to see me do that. Let's see here. I have my candles partially made. And to do that, and they're coming out and sticking on me. So to do that, what I did is the little flame, you just put a little glue on the back of that flame, on the back of that little circle part. And that gives you somewhere to line up and glue that flame. It gives you something to glue it to. So I have 3 of these made, and they do have adhesive sheet on the back of them, and I have adhesive sheet on my hand. So I have 3 already made, and I have 3 candles here. And so the reason we did them on adhesive sheet was just to make it easier. You could do the whole glue thing like we've been doing, right? Okay, I prepped these. There it goes. But peel that adhesive backing and set that right on top of your Blushing Bride candles. So now look at that. We have some cute birthday candles. Okay, they're gonna come in and we'll layer them in here. So let's do that a couple more times. There's that one. And I threw the backing off into my pile or mountain of mess, as Jacqueline said, Kathleen. I like that, mountain of mess. So true. There's that. Let's see, let's do one more here. And you could do more if you could do more candles if you wanted. It's up to you. Mountain of mess. And occasionally I have to go in and clean the mountain of mess. But I don't know about you, I just basically move the mountain of mess. So we have 3 candles that are going to come into play there. We need a few more things die cut. And that is, remember I said this would look cute if it were like a shooting star, this piece here with the star. I'm like, oh, I should have done that. Well, I used this, and you're going to die cut from your piece of white here. Go ahead and die cut yourselves 3 or 4. And so I have some, or 2, or however many you want. So I have a couple here. So I have a couple white. Look at how that white just kind of brings things to life in there. And we need to do some stamping. So our stamping, we're going to stamp the wishing you the happiest of birthdays because you deserve it. So those, we have an inside and an outside. We're going to stamp them in Versamark and emboss them in white. So let's powder pow. Break down that, or just kind of eliminate that static electricity. Versamark. Okay, and I'm going to stamp this one down here. And this larger one, get it good and inked up right in here. Trying to get it really stamped well. I really need to re-ink my Versamark, but I didn't want to do it right before this class because Versamark seems to need a little bit more time to really penetrate the pad. So I didn't want it too goopy and not working the greatest right before today. So, but I will do it, and it just needs time, I think, that's all. Okay, so you can see where my fingers are sticky and where I've been holding it and touching it. Okay, so let's heat this. Love that classic look of white on color. Get my protective layer in there. Here it goes. All right, there it is. Now, same drill as before. Let's go to Lisa's sheets here. And we want wishing you the happiest of birthdays. That one was easy to find. And our other, because you totally deserve it. Oh, I just found it. It's right there. So they're both on the first page of dies. So again, if you're going to switch out to magnetic sheets and you're going to use this download that she has, make sure that you put things back in the right spot. So there's because you totally deserve it. And then it's this one up here. And look, I have tape on it. Okay, so, and I have some little jigs made. It's this one here. I have them both on the same one. Let me take my pieces of tape off. Hold up, where did you get this download? We talked about it at the very beginning, or not the very beginning. This is Lisa Curcio's Stamp Studio. So Lisa's Stamp Studio is the name of the blog, or the website rather. She's a website. Lisa's Stamp Studio. Lisa Curcio, Kayleen. This is her $1 million sales achievement set. Look at this, these are upside down from each other. Okay, so I'm framing this. Get it just right and tape it down. Okay. Make sure it's on there well. And then we'll set this down inside that little handy dandy jig. Want to get it just, it's like, come on. There we go. You feel it, you hear it click into place. Oh, it clicks into place and then it popped out. Yes, Kayleen, she has this download as well as a bunch of others. It is a free download. And it's super, 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 super helpful. Okay, look how perfect that is. So she helped us out by showing us where to find the die, which one it was, and which way goes up and all that good stuff. And then this tip here, this is the biggest, most helpful, tip of the day, is cutting a frame and using it to perfectly frame your dies, your greetings, your stamped greetings. Because these are so close, there's just no wiggle room. Okay, I'm gonna pull those two pieces off. We don't need that. Pop that in place. Come on, there it goes. Sometimes it's like not quite there and then it sets and you're like, that's it, that's right where it goes. Okay, so let me bring her guide back in. We know it's on the first page. Now, let me just point out one more time that she has the red dot on what faces what is up, but you want to just make sure you put things back the way she has in the diagram so that the diagram will work for you in the future. There's that. Okay. And so Post-it tape, there's that. Pop that right out. And there you have it. There it is. So, Kayleen, what you missed at the beginning was that the whole reason I'm doing this bit with the little jig, a jig and then framing it, was because when I was just doing it by myself, it was coming out horribly crooked. And no matter, because they're so small and so defined, I couldn't, get it to work right. So by doing that, it made all the difference. You really want this set, Kathleen? It's cool. There is another set. I'll put it up on my blog, on the Backstage Pass. There's a new set that has different things. I think it has some flowers instead of candles and stars, but it has the same thing where the greetings are, cropped out like this. Now this one moved a little bit, but it's doable. Okay, so let's put this all together because we're almost there. Okay, I'm going to start with my greeting here. And so I'm going to put a couple dimensionals on the back. Let's see, we're going to use these up. I have all these little pieces like this in some of my containers here. But in the spirit of using things up, let's literally use these up. This is going to go down first because once I put this greeting on, then I can tell where I'm going to put my candles. So my greeting is going to kind of come down a little bit, but make sure it's straight. Okay. And with our candles, let's see. In the spirit of using things up, these are adhesive sheets that I had a whole bunch of leftovers here. So we're just going to kind of cut this right up the middle. And we'll go like that. There we go. Now I got some long, skinny dimensionals. So stuff like this ends up in I have these little containers here all over my desk. And I just keep throwing stuff in there. But hey, to me, they're not, some people are, I'm not going to use it. I'm just going to throw it away. Dimensionals, I don't throw away because I know I'm going to use it and that they're easy to use up. Okay, so now that I have my 3 candles ready, I can tuck them in. And I'm just going to start with one in the center and one to each side. And we can do these straight up and down, or we can kind of, make them a little bit more funky or one higher, who knows? We'll just kind of play it by ear. So it looks like we're going to do one higher, and we're not going to go and be perfectly straight. We're just going to, something like that. Cute, right? But this is what makes it super cute, you guys, are these little these just brings this blue to life for some reason. But these little kind of like confetti, it's like a party. It's like emotion here. It's movement, I should say. Like, yeah, party time. Like, there we go. Okay, this is for the inside. So we're almost done with the front here. This is Starry Sky or Orchid Oasis. I think it's Starry Sky, but it's part of the In Color Baker's Twine. I'm using mine up. I only have Orchid Oasis and Starry Sky left. Now, this is not retired. It is still available and will be available for the next year, which I really enjoy, because a lot of times they retire. They only have like the In Color stuff for 1 year. They don't move it over to a second year. Okay, so just a little bow here. Okay, and I'm gonna put a glue dot right where I want it to go. You could do a squirt of glue too. I want it to go kind of right centered right there. And we know where center is because we have our gatefold here. Peel that off, throw that cover in the pile, and put our little Baker's Twine action right there. But you want to go ahead and really kind of push those fibers into that glue dot so that you know it's going to stay. Cuteness. Cute, cute. Wink of Stella, right? Got to go up these candles and on our little party poppers. There's that. And now let's finish the inside. Quick and easy here. And we'll finish it by just a real fast. I like to put a little bit of color behind my greetings. So with Blushing Bride and a light pink brush here, let's do just a little bit of blending here. So load your brush, offload that more powerful kind of like, you know, and then just lightly create a haze across the top. And it doesn't look like a whole bunch, but when you bring this in, that little bit of pink starts to show up. So there I've started. Let me get a little bit more going here. And I'm doing it lightly because I just don't want to overkill it, you know? Okay, beautiful. A little bit of a hazy look there. Cool. Now, a couple dimensionals on that, and we will call it art. Here. This is that other strip that went flying when I was cutting up the foam adhesive sheets. Perfect size to add right to the front here. Cute, simple, but we've taken that to the inside, and we will zhuzh it with some splatters, as well as some splatters on the front. Okay, and we'll take that out of the way, and there we have it. Happy birthday, because you totally deserve it. Wishing you the best. Okay, and I will show you my original, slightly different look. My original, I put rhinestones on. Let me see, do I have some rhinestones left in the pink? Ooh, I do, I have some pink ones left. What would be nice, there were some blue in this originally, but, so we'll just do some pink here. Kind of like so. There you go. Okay, we finished it. Okay, so my first one has a lot more navy, or yeah, Night of Navy and that other color, but it's fun to see, you know, same exact card, just different DSP. So let's see, let's do a quick review today. What we've done a birthday. We have done a shabby, congratulations. These are cute. And then we have our baby card as well. I hope you have learned something new today. Once I discovered the tip of framing I heard it for something else, and I'm like, I bet it would be perfect with this stamp set. that opened up the door and made me totally respect this stamp set. So between framing it with, you know, your little jig, like we just did, and the help of Lisa Curcio, her download, huge difference, huge difference with this particular bundle. So don't forget, tomorrow, it's the last day to register for a legendary ride. These cards are epic. They're totally fun. We are pairing it with the Fresh as a Daisy, and it's just kind of their sweet little cards. And there's 4 of them. So hopefully it's not as nutty though as last time. What I am going to do for the porch stamping, because so far there are only 2 signed up for porch stamping, I am going to send the stamps and dies directly to them after my Zoom session. So that's how porch stamping will work for this month. Next month in June, porch stamping will be at my parents' house because I'll be there. So June, we will porch stamp in Almaden Valley. Okay, that's enough of blabbering. I will catch you all later. Please share what cards you make. What inspired you? Even if it's just something that caught your eye, it doesn't have to be anything like this. Post it in the Backstage Pass and share what you've been creating, and let's just empower one another with our ideas and creativity. Check y'all later. Bye-bye.